Kid cuisines have been a staple of childhood meals for multiple generations, made up of all 5 food groups. Not the 5 food groups, but 5 arbitrary groups. It has character-shaped nuggets, perpetually frozen vegetables no matter how many microwave zaps, and a mouth-watering dessert like brownies or sprinkle pudding. And all of this is behind a happy, sports-loving, space-traveling penguin, KC, on the front of every box. But really, there's a much darker theme, ending in the assassination of KC by a secret administration that creates the kid TV dinners. He was taken out by his own people, and I guess I'll tell you how. Kid cuisine meals are not your traditional TV dinners. They aren't made in a factory like most, but the food is still quite up to par with true home-cooked meals. They are so delicious your brain is unable to comprehend it, so it leaves your body, grows legs, and escapes. The kid cuisines are made in the desolate winter of Antarctica. In a small igloo with Kid Cuisine branded on it, lives the Kid Cuisine penguins. They cut all the corn that never seems to unfreeze in the microwave, and they plop the quote-unquote chicken nuggets into the tray. The entirety of all Kid Cuisine production is unlikely to just pump out of one igloo, especially with how slow they go, so it's safe to assume there are more than one Kid Cuisine igloo and a lot more penguins. There are 3 defect penguins. They're either a little frumpy, or they have more human-like bodies. Maybe their feet aren't as webbed, or their beaks aren't as pointy. They are the ugly ducklings. These 3 aren't allowed to package the meals. These guys are put on the box to serve as the mascots. Maybe they aren't smart enough to separate the corn from the brownies. These 3 guys, in no particular order, are KC, the KC imposter, and BJ. KC is the one you probably recognize. It is unknown what the K and C stand for. I mean, it feels kinda obvious. But what if it's not? What if it's Clark? Maybe Kevin Calvin? What if it's KFC? What if it's Kaleidos Cope? James Smith? The K and C are silent. Maybe it's KC, so when you shorten it, it's KC, or KC for short. The second guy, the KC imposter, is never given a name. And finally, BJ. I'm not gonna take the bait. The first of them used was BJ. There is something nefarious about the penguins. There is some master plan which involves the main population of humans not finding out about them. So they give BJ an advertising partner, that being the chef, a polar bear who is the supposed creator of the delicatessens. BJ and the chef operate in an icy lab with a massive Karen computer that tells them where some kids are getting lame lunches. So the 2 slide down a massive loop-de-loop slide that has direct access to any house they need. They're frozen food Santas. They replace the boring meal and give the kids a delicious kid cuisine. This is also the exact branding Lunchables used with the Lunchable Brigade characters. BJ's cool Hawaiian shirt-wearing Chad energy was enervated, and BJ has never been seen since the penguins had their way. Well, that may not be true, but the chef possibly has. I can't say for sure. Needing a new penguin presence, they introduced KC, who wasn't very different from BJ. Just one less article of clothing. KC was given a gang. Only 2 commercials of the gang is what has survived onto the internet, so there's not really any information about them. There's a polar bear, rabbit, owl, and walrus. The chef and this polar bear have some significant design differences, so I'm just going to say it's not the same guy. In one of the commercials, KC and gang play soccer against wolves, and in the second one they go to Grandpa Penguin, KC's grandpa. What if, hear me out, what if Grandpa Penguin is BJ? He's a penguin wearing a yellow sweater. The only other penguin known to wear a yellow top is BJ. Correlation does not mean causation, but a yellow top was certainly not animated accidentally or unintentionally. And now you should be realizing the polar bear in his gang wears a red scarf, just like the chef wore a red handkerchief ascot tie thing, whatever that is. Surely they are also a pair of grandfather and grandson. Just like their grandfathers worked together, now they do as well. Without any notice, Casey's gang is stripped of him. Now Casey is alone. But at least he gets to suffer in his copious amounts of cash, because now he's getting sponsored. Movies are reaching out wanting to advertise their films in the food, changing the look of the nuggets, the noodles, the pudding, etc. Like the time KC promoted the new open season meal, with noodles that look just like Elliot the deer. But I can confirm these noodles and all of the other special movie noodles, they look more like toddler scribbles than anything remotely coherent. They advertise meals for all the 2000s and 2010s classics. Kung Fu Panda, Ice Age 2: The Meltdown, How to Train Your Dragon, Mr. Peabody and Sherman, Rio, Home, SpongeBob, even Skylanders, and finally everyone's favorite, Lion King 1.5. In that commercial, the kid actors in it look like they're being held at gunpoint.
Say the line.
Pretty similar to the one for Hotel Transylvania. This one actor is really bad.
Draken, maybe some of my mac and cheese.
I know I'm being kind of rude to literal children, but it's not their fault it's bad. They had penguin casting directors. Penguins don't know what good acting is, so they just said yes to the first applicant. For all of these sponsors, movie footage is shown. Casey will do something and then cut to a scene, but Casey and the movie characters are never seen together. So Casey never does a crossover with them, with the exception of 3 instances, and they aren't even crossovers. The first time, Shaggy and Scooby are walking through a store, and at the checkout register, Casey is bagging, and when he plops the Kid Cuisine in the bag, he slides off screen and then Scooby pops out. Still never appearing on screen together, but they are definitely in the same room together. That counts enough for me. The commercials advertising for the Shrek films are a little different. When the narrator would announce the unique Shrekiness of the meal, parts of KC would transform to ogre parts, eventually turning him to a full penguin ogre. Shrek has powers that he apparently has hidden this whole time, able to turn not 1, but 2 mascots into his species. Here it's KC, but Quickie the Nesquik Bunny was also turned into an ogre promoting Shrek products. At the end of the ad, it promotes the sweepstakes that probably were never awarded, but it says you have the opportunity to meet Shrek if you win. Do they know something we don't? I thought Shrek was fictional. The only true crossover, and it's not even a good one, is the promotion for the Planet 51 movie. Casey is shown on Planet 51, but never interacts with any of the characters, but being in the same world is the closest thing we're going to get. This introduces us to Casey's constant space travel. He's a penguinaut. He first traveled all around the Earth looking like he just got off the set of 321 Penguins, but once he got done with that finite area, he went to the infinite area, in desperate search of new food items for the cuisines. The penguins have sent him on a wild goose chase to find new foods on other planets. This is the penguins' first attempt at permanently getting rid of KC. They just assume having him being lost in space, going out a hero would be better than having Grandpa Penguin BJ asking all kinds of questions about where his grandson mysteriously disappeared to. Defying the odds, KC discovers all kinds of new planets that produce food. On Planet 41, he discovers an abundance of volcanoes that burst and produce star-shaped macaroni noodles. On what I assume to be the neighboring planet, Planet 42, he discovers hot dogs that grow like cattails. On Planet 21, he found an alien and a scrumptious lunch of star nuggets. On Planet 24, there's a weird, scary, gooey thing. And finally, on Planet 39, there are chocolate meteors. He brings all of the things he found back with him on his very successful space mission, which also includes aliens. I think they're friends. They eat the cuisines with the kids. KC has developed, potentially learning it from them, a new power, being able to materialize the meals with his finger. Some of the food he brought back doesn't have as many food properties as once thought. A pudding cup is sentient and falls in love with its eater, this kid, and they are going to get married. Where are this kid's parents? Legally, they had to sign off on this. And shame on the preacher, he's officiating this. They aren't going to consummate this marriage. He's going to consummate it. The kid cuisines are found mostly anywhere where you can buy anything, but the penguins have their own generic store. There are no brands besides themselves. It's kind of like something you'd find in a video game. In the freezer section, it's only kid cuisine. Such little selection too, there's like 3 kinds you can get. This is possibly the store Shaggy and Scooby were in. For a while, this is where Casey lived, either instructed to by the overlord penguins, or he is forced to live here and hide, because he knows the penguins are wanting to replace him. In his free time, being a hermit, he learns some magic, and he gets a hold of a magic brush, capable of painting a kid cuisine into existence. Or, the most realistic option, the kid cuisine has invisible paint on it, and the brush here is wiping it off. KC is discovered to be living here, but he is not captured, so he is able to escape and leave kid cuisines behind. He applies to be a firefighter, and actually gets the job, but the cuisines have their own gravitational pull for KC. Instead of blasting water, he has a cheese hose, producing extra cheesy mac and cheese kid cuisines. He tries to leave his past behind, but he is genetically connected to it. When the advertising is switched up, putting a caveman KC on the box, KC really turns into a caveman with dinosaurs around him. And when they put a rockstar KC on the box, KC really changes into a rock star. Same thing for a Frankenstein and a knight. Thinking he finally escaped, he's relaxing somewhere tropical. But he made an error. He did not escape. They finally get KC. While relaxing by the pool, he is taken. The penguins snatch him up off the street and is taken back to the igloo. But why? Why was his time finally up? A good 10-year run and then it's time for a switch? Is it in the rules that they must only serve for 10 years and then quit? Is it because KC defied that 10-year term? Or was it the childhood obesity epidemic? Ah yes, good times. If The Ronald McDonald couldn't survive the mascot killing. KC, the mascot with only one established decade, was going to be one of the first pawns on the chessboard knocked down. The Kid Cuisine brand adopted a new slogan: the more you know, the less you know. That slogan is really confusing if you just say it without reading it. Basically promoting their transparency and basically saying, look, there's a lot of chemicals in these blue trade meals, but there's not as many as you think there are, so continue buying our stuff. They tried to prove there was tons of nutritional value and vitamins and all that stuff, but that was almost non-existent. One of the things they supposedly claimed is that the Kid Cuisine meals were a good source of grain because of the wheat that made the breading of the nuggets. I'm not totally sure that's correct, so you might want to research that yourself. This obesity thing could be a reason KC started to play sports more often. Maybe the Penguins knew their branding was hurting, so they forced KC to start doing healthy stuff. But there's no way to know. The Penguins install a new mascot, somewhat similar to KC, shown off with sports and such, but it isn't him. He's a castrated KC. This is the Poser. He didn't stick around for long because KC reemerged. Seriously, he was in like 3 ads on the box. He never even got a chance to say anything. He literally wasn't even in the commercials. KC started communicating with the children through their technology, saying he's been taken and the children must join the rescue mission, led by the most iconic penguins, the ones that smile and wave, Skipper, Kowalski, Rico, and Private. The 4 of them try to find a fellow brethren. KC even offers a reward of a Nabby Dream Tab, but the efforts quickly fall through and KC is never found. The last time KC is ever seen is advertising for The Last Jedi, and it seems, in its suckiness, it killed KC with it. No. But it's true. KC is now truly dead. He hasn't been seen in 8 years, since 2017. The evil penguins finally achieved their goals. The Poser never lasted long, so I can only hope he took the noble route and tried to find his predecessor KC. BJ also hasn't been seen, so I'm guessing they took him out too. The Shadow Government penguins are fully out of their defects. After they purified their breeding pool, they had no one left for their advertising, leaving themselves. They had cartoons drawn of them and slapped them onto the box. This lasted for give or take weeks to a year, until they found their most recent replacement. He's not even deserving of a name. He's a regular child penguin. And on top of that, they've added dinosaurs, unicorns, and astronauts to the boxes. Who even are these people? What do they have to do with the branding? Yummy, yummy, yummy. We all want a nice side of Tums to go with our Kid Cuisine. The cartoony, whimsical nature is now stripped from the delicious frozen Happy Meals. On a serious note, outside of the canon, why would they get rid of KC and replace it with this just generic-looking penguin? It is one of the worst mascot decisions ever, and probably nothing can be done about it. But I don't like this new guy. Get out of here. Like every kid, the dessert parts were my favorite. The sprinkled glitter microplastic pudding was awesome. The corn always managed to migrate its way into that little pudding square. The brownies were good too, a bit better than the regular plastic brownies like Cosmic Brownies. True story, one time I had a Kid Cuisine, ate all of the dinner part, and then wanted to re-warm up my brownie. I don't really know why. So 7-year-old me put the brownie in the microwave, just the brownie, not even the tray, and I put 1 minute on that sucker. I had never really used a microwave prior to that, I think, and I'm assuming I would normally ask my parents to do it for me. But for some reason, I acted on my own volition this one time and let that full minute tick down on that 1" by 1" brownie. Once the microwave dinged, I opened the door, and what was once a squishy brownie was now a black, crusty, rock-solid brick of coal, also smoking. I ran to my parents' bedroom. Hey, I might have immolated my brownie, and so my dad came running out, grabbed the new-formed mineral, and tossed it out the back door. Later that night, I heard jingle bells, and I saw Santa fly by, and he grabbed it and took it to give to a naughty kid on Christmas. It was a sad day, because I didn't get to eat that brownie. Not really. I mean, maybe. It was 13 years ago. I don't remember how I was feeling beyond fear when I saw the pillar of smoke emit from that brownie fossil. There's also a rare promotional collectible, the Kid Cuisine Furby, colored with the same brand colors. I just had to mention that because it's so random. Rest in peace, KC. Hopefully this video can raise awareness for the tragedy that happened to you. But now, we truly know what KC stands for. Killed character. I don't know, man. That's not even funny, but it's the best I got, I guess. What do you think KC stands for?